Hi, scholars. This week's essential question, our very, very important question, is in what ways are things alike and how are they different? So, you can see in my picture here that we have jars full of different things that you might find maybe in a classroom. So, they are alike because they're all in jars, right? The jars look like they're made of glass and they all have the red and white gingham lids. And they're all full of things that might be found in a classroom. Those are things that are similar and alike. Now, how are they different? What is different about what you see in my pictures? You're right, scholars. What is inside the jars is different. We have paper clips, we have push pins, looks like maybe toothpicks up there. Lots of different examples, right? So those are different because those jars do not have the same things inside, or even the ones like these push pins are the same. There are probably a different number. There's maybe one has more and the other has less. So there's a different amount inside too. So that's another way something can be different. So, scholars, your job for the very, very important question, for our essential question for this week, is today to post on Seesaw and find some things in your house that are alike and find something that is different. So you're going to share an example and record it on the microphone and say, this is alike because, and these are different because. So that's your job, scholars, to find something that are alike and tell me about how they're similar, and find things that are different and tell me why they're different. Okay? So, um, our next thing that we get to do today, scholars, is we are going to read a book together, our big book. But what I want to show you first is our anchor chart that is talking about what we're looking for, our strategy in our book today. So, we are going to ask and answer questions. Ask and answer questions. And scholars, this is very, very important because when you're getting ready for first grade and you are going to become such good writers, the key to being a great writer is to be able to ask yourself questions, a good writer and a good reader. And I have lots of good writers and readers in this class. So, what are you wondering about? When you read a story or you see the pictures in the story, what are you wondering about? We can ask these 5 questions here: who, why, where, what, and when. So, who is in the story? Who do we not see in this picture? Someone maybe coming soon. Why? Why is what's happening? What caused it to happen? Where are we? What is this thing? What is going on? What is the object? And when? When in time is it? Is it daytime? Is it nighttime? Is it in the future, in outer space? Where, those are some questions that we can ask as we read our stories. So we're going to ask and answer questions along the way. Okay? So here is our story today, scholars, and I'm going to make my picture a little smaller, I hope, so that you can see more of the book. Okay, so let's read through this. Our book today is called All Kinds of Families. Families, all kinds of families. Families are people and animals too, but all sorts of other things fit into families. Look all around and you'll see that they do. A knife and a fork and a spoon are a family. The stars and the sun and the moon are a family. The socks in the drawer and the rocks on the shore. Bottle caps, ginger snaps, buttons or rings. You can make families from all sorts of things. So, scholars, we can see in our picture that families can be made of things that are alike and things that are different, just like in our essential question. So let's go back to our anchor chart and say, what are we wondering? What are we wondering when we look at this picture? Who is in the picture? We see some smiling rocks. I see a little animal, maybe a bunny up there. I see a girl. Where are we? It looks like we're at the beach, right? The shore. When is it? Is it daytime or nighttime, scholars? You're right, it's nighttime because that looks like the moon, right? And the moon comes out at nighttime. And let's see. Why is this important, scholars? Because we're learning about families and we're seeing all those kinds of examples. And that is what is happening too. We can see what is happening in the picture, that there are lots of different families all gathered together, some that are alike and some that are different. As soon as you're born, you're part of a family. As soon as you're born, you're a daughter or son. As soon as you're born, your family gets bigger. As soon as you're born, it's bigger by one. Eggs in a carton can seem like a family. So can a loaf with its slices of bread, celery stalks, or a big bunch of carrots. They sleep in the fridge with a drawer for a bed. What other things can you make to find families? That's a good question we can ask ourselves. Pennies and card decks and marbles and jacks, ribbons and bobby pins, hair clips and thimbles, pencils and rulers and crayons and tacks, bottle caps, ginger snaps, buttons or rings. You can make families from all sorts of things. So look, scholars, look and see what you can find in our picture and ask yourself some questions. What is in our picture? Who is in our picture? Where are we? When is it? And why? Why are the things happening the way that they are? Think about that as we look at this picture. So in this question, it already asked us, what are other things you can use to make families? These look like gingerbread men to me. That looks like a family. There's shoes down here in this corner. That could be a family of shoes, right? Okay. Clams in the sea make a clamily family. Lambs in the field make a lamely family. Jams in their jars make a jamily family. And yams in the cupboard make a yamily family. Out in the yard, you'll find dry twigs and branches, horse chestnuts, barberries, acorns, and cones. Down at the beach, you'll find pebbles and seashells, soft colored beach glass, and ocean smooth stones. A saucer and a cup can be brother and sister. A comb and a brush can be husband and wife. A plate and a bowl can be Mrs. and Mr., and so can the spoon or the fork or the knife. Do you see the little families over here and on the cake? It's pretty cute, huh, scholars? Your hand is a family of fingers. Your foot is a family of toes. And as you get older, each family gets older. And as you keep growing, each family grows. Bottle caps, ginger snaps, buttons, or rings, you can make families from all sorts of things. You are the first baby born to your mother. Your mother's a mother because you are here. If you are the first baby born to your father's a father because you appear. If you are the second one born in your family, someone is a brother because you arrive, or someone's a sister and you are a sister or brother the moment that you are alive. You can make families from clay or from Play-Doh. You can make families from mud or from snow. You can make families from paper or cardboard. Make them from sticks or balloons that you blow. So what can we see in this picture and in this part of the story? Ask ourselves some questions. Let's do that. Who is in our picture? These look kind of like snowmen shopping for sticks for maybe their hair or their noses. It looks like there's Play-Doh families and balloon families. And what are the balloon families doing? Are floating. And the Play-Doh families are walking or climbing. So those are some examples of questions that we can ask ourselves as we read. Spools are a family, and tools are a family, and chalk for the blackboard at school are a family. 6 slices of cheese, or a pod full of peas, or a key ring with keys, they can all become families. Bottle caps, ginger snaps, buttons, or rings, you can make families from all sorts of things. You might say that numbers belong in a family, or alphabet letters or notes on the scale. The colors in rainbows, the words in a language, the keys on a piano, or stamps for the mail. Do you see how these number scholars are making different kind of animals? Like this sideways 7 looks like it might be an elephant trunk. This looks like it's also an elephant trunk, the number 6. The number 3 here is the mouse's ears. See how many numbers you can find, scholars, that are animals or trees or other things. Look at the frog, that's a 0. Inside or outside, in summer or winter, you can find families for so many games. Families to play with, spend most of the day with, telling them stories and giving them names. Bottle caps, ginger snaps, buttons, or rings. You can make families from all sorts of things. Make-believe families and families of people. Families of people from long, long ago. Families like stepping stones crossing the water, leading to now and the families you know. So you look at all different kinds of families from different parts of the world, scholars. That's wonderful. Everyone comes from a number of families. When you look backward, it looks like a tree. People from families make other new families. The more you go back, the more people you see. So they're saying our family tree, scholars. So maybe you and your brothers or sisters. And then above that on the tree are your parents. And then above your parents are your grandparents. And you might also have some aunties and uncles. And you could just go all the way back on that family tree. Play families, real families, all kinds of families. Think of the families, the ones that you're from. Someday you'll grow up and you'll have a new family. And you'll be the family of families to come. So, scholars, that is the end of our story right here, where they're talking about you starting your own family when you're grown-ups. But today, scholars, your job to do on Seesaw is to tell me about the family that you're in. Tell me about your moms and your dads and your siblings if you have them, and maybe grandmas and grandpas. Tell me all about your families. You could draw a picture if you wanted to, and tell me all about them on Seesaw. Okay? All right. Great job, scholars. And I'll talk to you soon.